Good evening, this is Kuro. Got a ranked game in my Z52, going over the matchmaking. Conqueror, Kurfürst, Yamato, Salem, Zal, Gearing and Daring rounding out the threats. The map is north. It's a domination battle, obviously, being ranked battles. And gonna talk about when shit goes wrong. And in this case, I miscalculate slightly. The Salem gets a good spawn, and I'm basically out of position by a kilometer, and how you've got to try to deal with that. And I see a lot of destroyers screw this up, and this isn't some major battle. This is a battle how to survive and how to still remain effective. So what I'm doing, I'm telling my friendly destroyer I'm going to C cap. I personally usually do this because C is a harder cap to get than A, and I usually do that in an effort to basically try to make sure we don't have a ship kill a destroyer killed or crippled in the opening couple minutes of battle. It's not always perfect, as you'll see, but in general I think I can survive better than the average destroyer player. So what I'm doing, I'm pushing up here, and honestly, I should have already turned out. I should have turned out about 30 seconds ago and started coming this way through. Um, but I get hung up talking to the Mino, and that's a misplay right there. Uh, I do pop my consumables. Now boom, right here. It's off to the races right now. I already know it. I've got torpedoes up. Um, my my plan is I'm gonna basically drop a fan set of torps right out here, just to try to harass anything trying to chase me, and I need to get the hell out of here because I know what's coming. And here we go. The whole shebang's here. Uh, Daring is smoking up. That creates an issue because this Salem can chase me further. Um, some of these DDs were spotted with my Hydro. Now, if I want to talk about dodging for a minute, because this is probably something that um, I think a lot of people don't get. Uh, Basically, when I had to make that, I call it a turn of death. Anytime that you're locked in for a few seconds making this hard, you know, 90 plus degree turn, you're looking at, being relatively fixed in position, and you're an easy target. So obviously I took a bunch of damage. Actually, most of that was from this Conqueror. I'm holding my repair. I don't want to have, um, you know, repair and then have a fire set on me and deal with an unrepairable fire and all that means with it, the additional spotting and that kind of thing. Um, this gearing has misplayed. This guy he's playing too aggressive. I still have teammates back here. I've got a Minotaur. That Minotaur's smoked up and he's just laying into stuff. I've got a Kreml and a Yamato back here, plus a Montana. I've got a lot of firepower behind me. Just right now, I'm absorbing everything from the enemy team. So getting back to dodging, uh, two schools of thought. You can either dodge and try to ride out the radar, which involves, basically juking back and forth, uh, changing your speed. Um, Other ways is, what I'm doing here. I'm basically using my speed to try to create distance beyond this radar range. Salem has a relatively short radar range, So it's taking me a bit, but I'm gonna be able to get out of this. As far as the dodging, there's a couple different methods. One is the obvious, wiggle your butt side to side. That you don't want to get predictable, because if you're, just dodging just like this, nice and predictable, guys can and will abuse that. So, throw in a, you're wiggling all of a sudden where you should come back, juke a little harder out to the side or something like that, and you can throw off a volley. Um, Try to time the shots. If you notice, when I have in all my games, when I have ships shooting at me like this, I stay in this view where I'm looking at the shots coming in, and I'm trying to, with a fraction of a second, see if I can make, one or two shells miss by dodging a certain way. So, for example, this volley coming in right here, trying to get the stern of my ship, in between this gap right here. Little things like that can add up, particularly the longer range you get out. You've got more time to make those dodges. That's part of the reason why you'll see, the damage drop off. I almost instantly lost half my HP, but once I got out here and got turned onto this angle, it's much harder for me to actually um, get hit. Much easier for me to avoid the damage. Now, the other way to dodge is this one's particularly handy for keeping your speed up, and it's very minor course correction. So you're going to shift your rudder slightly over, and then just, let your speed, take you. This is really something that's really good with something that has a moderate to long uh, reload on their guns. It's less effective against something like a Minotaur or a Wooster. If it, range Des Moines or legendary mod Des Moines, you can do it at like, you know, 8.5 to kilometers and further out. But you're just, hold the rudder over just enough to turn the ship on a different bearing, and then let the ship speed back up. But when you're steering the ship, most likely if you're traveling near full speed, you're going to lose speed. So those are a couple different methodologies for how I'm dodging. The juking here, Z52 actually does have a surprisingly good acceleration rate, especially compared to other Tier 10 destroyers. But it's nowhere near as effective as Shimakaze. So you're I don't do that sort of juking as often with Shimakaze. I'll do the typical wiggle with, the random stuff thrown in, or just course changes, and trying to let the speed uh, help me dodge in. You can even mix both of those up, where you can be wiggling, and then just make the course correction. Now, what I would do instead is I would start out with the course correction, particularly if you start out angled and at speed. Uh, do the course correction, let the speed, take you down a different angle than where they originally aimed, uh, and then break down into the wiggle. And the reason for that is if you start wiggling, you're going to scrub off a lot of your speed. So your initial, you know, just changing angle is not going to be as effective, because if you go from this angle to this angle, carry that out. So you're currently on this angle. If you turn to this angle, you can see as it goes out, you get more distance between the line. But you need that speed to really create the distance, and that difference is how those shells are going to miss. So your speed is absolutely critical to make those dodge. So I've talked about that enough. If you guys have any questions about that, um, I will see what I can do to make something a little more clear. Honestly, I don't know. If it's not clear, I'll see if there's another way that uh, I can explain it. All right. Right now, we've got an opportunity. Yes, I just took a lot of damage, but my spotting, we were able to pick up a kill on the gearing because I wasn't panicking, I wasn't smoking, I wanted to maintain vision on the enemy team and everything shooting at me. And even with all the smoke that got popped, we still did almost 27,000 spotting damage. Most of it on that gearing. So, their radar's down. I'm not going to be afraid of this ship. This ship, the radar's on cooldown. I'm going to push in here. I want to get spotting on it. I'm throwing torps out here. The torps, they're going to get detected. I know there's a daring in the cap. I know that daring has hydro up. What I'm doing is trying to use my torps to lock that Salem in position. Or if this Yamato pushes up behind him, maybe I hit this Yamato. You know, even though these torps are detected, they're still going to have to try to deal with them. Now, what I'm doing here, I'm playing, teamwork. You see this 3 kilometer circle. This is roughly where torpedoes are spotted, and uh, that's the intent of my positioning. I'm screening for torpedoes right now for my team. They've got a daring back here that's able to single launch torps. It can be incredibly punishing for these guys if that daring is able to line up, the perfect single drop. And with my spotting angle, that Salem wasn't able to disengage, and my team was able to finish him off. It was actually our Des Moines over here that was shooting through this gap that finished him off. So at this point, I'm letting my team know my hydro's down. It's on cooldown. Uh, and I'm just going to push into the cap. Now, I don't have RPF, so I don't know where the daring is. I've got my smoke available if I need it in an emergency, but I'm just gonna hold on to it until such time. Right now I'm more focused on, making sure everything's visible for my team that I can see here, and stepping on the cap. The daring's not on the cap, and I'm just gonna keep backing in. I've got hydro in 29 seconds. I'm kind of hoping I bump into this daring because I've got a lot more support than he does. I got a Minotaur, Yamato, Kreml, Montana. That it's a lot of firepower. And basically, I'm just reversing in this direction to try to close the distance on this Yamato. He's going to be my next torp target. And as soon as hydro's up, I'm popping it because I want to try to scout those torps for my team. Now that I've scouted all the torps, I've got no issues turning out and launching torps. Now this just was good timing. This Yamato starts turning out, and I basically just take the lead and drop the torps. And during this time, we were able to capture CCAP. So now that I've got hydro up and I've got my smoke, this is why the special special German captain is actually pretty strong for the German destroyers. Uh, you get your consumables back up much quicker. Now, this is still really a pain in my ass because this daring's rate of fire is so well. He can shoot me in the smoke. So I smoke up, and then you see I just hop forward in the smoke, and I'm doing that to try to shake this guy's shots on me. Now you see that I've got this daring completely confused, and I'm just gonna keep working on this guy, and he's given up. He's gonna run off, and I'm able to put a last couple shots into him. Uh, at that point, this daring's pretty much done here. He's really too low HP to really try to pick that fight again with all the support that I've got. Um, my team was able to keep A secure. And again, I'm just rotating back on the defensive, assuming a position where I'm going to scout torpedoes uh, for my team. Ignore the chat. This is a misplay as well. If I'm playing competitively, uh, I would not be typing in the chat. And typing in the chat, it's making me, play a little more cautious around these torpedoes. Uh, just because, you know, I I was in I lost seconds trying to do a dodge because I'm sitting here in chat. So it's a misplay. I'm gonna point it out. Uh, just because I believe that I should point out every single misplay to you guys because I'm not perfect. This guy was asking me for information, so I was trying to help him out. Uh, Mostly because I feel that this game's well in hand. They're down 4 ships, down 2 caps, and we've almost got them capped out. And at this point, I'm just going to let my team go by. My hydro's down. I can't spot torps for them. You know, I'm just going to pull back and let the advantages of having the caps uh, just bear its fruit. And I mean, you can win a lot of games this way. Know when to play safe. In this game, you saw me actually take a couple defensive positions where all I'm doing is spotting and screening torps for my team. And it may have saved one of those battleships when that first set of single fire torps come in. I didn't actually look to see how close it was. I know somebody ate one of them, but it's just good teamwork. So ending the game, a paltry 34,000 damage. Good destroyer play isn't necessarily about damage. I have a lot of the games that I've been posting. There's been a lot of high damage games, things like that. Good destroyer play isn't necessarily required, uh, or isn't it, the high damage. It's nice. It's good that you can benefit your team that way, but it's also just as important to play solid and do your job. Get cap control, provide vision for your team. In this case, even as beat up as I was, I did 104,000 spotting damage for my team. Uh, I still got 50% of our capture points, uh, and was able to zone out the daring to keep him from coming back into the cap. So um, I'd say that even though this isn't a barn burner of a game, this was a pretty effective destroyer game, and that's I wanted to include a game where you see me get beat up a bit by radar and how I process and adjust throughout the game. You see, I changed how aggressive I was. I basically just stayed dark, kept torping, kept spotting, creeping around, just even reversing, 3-4 kilometers back into the cap and just, you know, ready to disengage at a moment's notice. Uh, Very passive play compared to how I normally play, where it can be, very in your face and aggressive. Uh, know when to switch to gears. Uh, know when you need to be aggressive. Know when to be passive. And to do that, you really do need some of these mods. There's some games here where We had a guy that, we it could have lost with. Well, it actually was a loss, because I was trying to tell this guy they're gonna win on points. You can't, sit there and just torp from 10, 12 kilometers away. It's not going to have the damage you need to kill a battleship that's three-quarter health. You can't. You have to get in there and get on those caps, or you're going to lose. And they opted not to, and that game was a loss. Uh, so anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this game. If you've got any questions or comments, as always, leave them below. Uh, Hope you guys are having a good night, and I will talk to you later. My coffee is calling. I'm running on very little sleep again, and hello, Black Rifle Coffee Company. You're gonna keep me awake for the next oh shit, the next 8 hours. So I will talk to you later.